get her done. Building a drain pan. So right now, I ripped out the floor completely. I had dry rot around my Herkel ring toilet flange. I had dry rot around where the bathtub was in this corner. That bottom plate right there, I cut it out. It had dry rot. I scabbed that in on that stud there. I had dry rot, cut it out, sistered on, and took care of the dry rot. So right now I had to build my floor up. I have 1/2-inch sheathing running this way, a whole sheet, and then a sheet running 5 foot this way and a sheet running 5 foot this way to build it up to that underlayment that is 3/4 inch under the entire room in the bedroom. So I had to build up to that layer because all the thresholds, the carpet would have been an inch above the tile, and you do not want that. So you have to make sure your subfloor is sound. Once you screw that off, nail that off, and make sure it's sound, jump on it, make sure there's no squeaking, no soft spots. This is where my bottom plate to the curb or dam is going to get glued. Right now it's temporarily in because I want the homeowner to stand inside and make sure. That's 32 inches. So in order to make it bigger, I'd have to pop this out here. And we already plan on doing a pass-through opening all the way over here so that there's flow running from the sink base cabinet room into the toilet and shower room. So I'm going to be installing the 36-inch door here. Took away this door here, going to widen this opening. Had to replace that leaky valve there yesterday as the water wouldn't turn off. And what you're seeing here is going to be the back to where my liner, my pan liner, is going to get secured to. Then I start building the pan. Thin set bonds to the subfloor. She wants a drain in the middle, so that drain assembly is going to get put in today. The Herkel ring toilet flange is going to get cut here and put in today. And once that's established, you first start with a thin set layer that bonds to the subfloor. The drain assembly comes in 2 parts. The bottom part gets secured to the subfloor. That thin set, I start doing what's called a pre-slope. Barely with the first bond, I slope everything to that drain. Then my next layer is going to be a mud layer, even thicker, with pre-slope still to that drain. On top of that is going to be felt paper. And the felt paper is for abrasiveness, for contraction and expansion. So when things rub, that's why you need to make sure there's no nail heads or anything, no slivers, no spikes from big slivers. Then I make sure that I have all this 2x6 all the way around. That first 2x4 treated gets construction glued, gets construction glued again, and sandwiched in with another 2x4, building up my curb. Once the felt paper's in, then my mud layer goes in. But before I do the mud layer, the drain assembly, the top half, the liner gets glued to the bottom half underneath. On top, because there's weep holes, it gets locked in and tightened down, and those weep holes all the way around is going to get pea gravel around it. And that way no mud clogs up those weep holes. And water is going to shed from all corners everywhere to that drain with a pre-slope. You never want to have it leveled out, because if water ever gets past all your tile, grout, thin set, mud layers, it'll go to the pan, and you don't want it sitting in the pan rotting away your mud layer. You want that water to slowly weep down that drain. The pan liner comes up 6 inches on that wall. My hardy board goes over to the top of that, but before I put my hardy board on, I paint both sides with a water membrane. That way, no water wicks up my hardy board. I'll build the niche to the specifications that the homeowner wants. My hardy board gets locked in. Everything gets a water membrane. 3 coats in all my corners, 3 coats in any outside corners, 3 coats inside that niche. Before the hardy board, I'm going to lock in my shower valve. I do a water test on my pan. I let water sit in it for 24 hours to make sure I have no leaks. I make sure that my water valve is not leaking way before I lock those walls in. I'm going to do a new shower valve and diverter for my wand slide bar. So I think my tripod and my remote is going to come tomorrow, and I'll be able to set it up and actually show how I do the process. So right now I'm locking in for my pan. I'll drill, cut out for my drain, and then I tie that drain. Showers get a 2-inch drain tied into the main. Tubs reduced down to 1.5 inch. So right now there was a tub with 1.5 inch. I need to change all that. My drain assembly to a 2-inch P-trap tied into the main. In places like this where a 2x4 isn't going to go in, I'm going to cut so that I can put that 2x6 in. I'll cut little slots where it'll slide in right here. I want to make sure that this thing is locked in all the way around before I start building this pan. That bottom plate is a guide reference to my mud pitches. Then I know how high I'm going up. I need a 2-inch to a 3-inch, 2.5 inch to a 3-inch mud layer for my tile to embed and my pan. All right, guys, let's get it on and get her done.